block it. So many hustle for the cash, so it's hard to knock it. Everybody got their own thing, currency chasing. Worldwide through the hard times, worrying faces. Shed tears as we bury brothers.
Well, hello. God bless you, community family, and welcome to Gang Talk Radio online at the great and magnificent Morris Media Studios right here in the Crenshaw Corridor, close to Lamert Park, and all our centrally located agendas that we handle for the African American community in Los Angeles. So we're grateful to be here, and you see we're just looking a little bit different tonight, okay, because I really came to interview our co-host. We have some real serious business to talk about as a people, and if you were listening last week, we had fun. If you missed that show, you need to go find it, because we had three ladies, what do we call them? I don't want to call them offenders, but...
Oh, I call them inmates.
Inmates, okay.
I mean, you know that because they take me through a training when I go into the prison, and they told me don't be over familiar with them. Remember, at all times, those are inmates. So when they come home, I'm like, hey, inmate, you're home.
Okay, well, we taught the three outstanding inmates that are home now, and when you look at these ladies that Skipp brings here, it's always a thing for me. You were in lockup, really? I look at them, and it's hard to believe that whatever they did, it cost them their freedom. Right. So we always start by thanking our guests. Well, actually, we start by thanking you for being the co-host, don't we?
Yes, ma'am, and I always give honor and praise to God. I'm just happy to be alive. I wake up in the morning like, man, he still like me. You know what I mean? I'm still
he still likes you.
I'm doing God's what God has given me favor every morning. So, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm on the good side still.
Yes, you are, and we're happy you are.
Yeah.
And so let's go ahead, because you were here last week too.
Yeah,
he's an inmate too.
Yeah, I'm a former inmate too.
Yeah.
I didn't feel in prison last week. I actually got a chance to, get inspired by sitting here and listening to how it goes on from a woman's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always fun for me when I come here. I get to laugh with Skipp, so I'm cool.
Yeah, I thought it was fabulous because, to hear how well they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
that they came out and found something to do. And is that Renee?
True.
The one that sat over here.
Ray.
Right. No, Ray sat. Shanae sat here. Ray sat here.
No, Ray sat next to me. That's Jada Raspberry.
Jada, okay.
Jada Raspberry, Hilda Ray Sims, Shanae Polk.
Okay, Hilda. Okay, because...
we call her Ray.
Ray, okay.
Her government is Hilda.
Don't confuse me. Look, I'm easily confused, and that's why I brought the clarifier. But anyway, it was just wonderful to hear her talk about all the time she spent in the law library while she was locked up. Now she's home actually being able to utilize all that. And what a difference she was able to make for others that were in lockup with her that needed some help with their case and their understanding where things went wrong. And what did she say? Well, I helped them get their paperwork together, and the next thing I know, they wasn't coming back.
Right.
It's like, girl, you did something, that really made a difference. So that was wonderful conversation, and I just really want to thank you for hanging out with those ladies.
Right. Yeah, I think I was blessed. Sister Herron, when I was in there, the very first thing I noticed was that most of the, I had a thought going into women's prison, like, oh man, I'm going to like them. I can't be in here. I'm going to think they pretty, right? Got in there, and that was not the problem. It was like, oh, I don't like you, you are you, right? Mm-hmm. But when I saw this group, they had something special about themselves, and I knew that they seemed to be educated. They seemed to be not a part of the average. The average got on the state clothes, the state shoes, the state issue, everything, and they had on their own clothes, and they were walking around with confidence. They wasn't walking around like inmates or like drug users or like they trying to impress somebody. They walked around like, we are the ones.
Trying to live.
Yeah. Well, they walked around. I knew that there was a sense of we don't belong here, nor are we going to act. So in other words, they did not conform to the ways of the prison.
Right.
They had their own group. They were educated, spoke well, were well-mannered. And I had actually brought one young lady on the show before, short, dark-skinned lady. I call her May Deuce. I forget her name, but she came on the show. And she had told me one day, she said that Shanae was looking for her. Had put her hair in a ponytail, put her sweatpants on, and was coming looking for her.
Uh-oh.
And she said she was wondering why. So when I asked Shanae, she said because she was beating up old ladies, lifers, and taking their phone time. Right, she said, so we had to put it. So that's the group I looked at like, wow, y'all the ones. And those are the ones who, when they came home, I brought them a second call, whatever I can do, let me help so that I can enhance who they already were.
Yeah.
You know, society gave up on them, but we didn't have to.
Yes.
So now they're home.
And let me throw Petra's name in there because thanks to you, I met Petra. And thanks to Petra, she was able to mentor to 12-year-old Leah that came on the show to discuss the challenges she has. And Petra, bless her heart, gave her the best advice that I've really heard any adult give a young person nowadays. So I'm just...
Petra makes me so upset because Petra is a jewel. She too is a diamond, and she does not know it. And I tell her, you're a diamond, you're a diamond. She says, okay, I'm a diamond, but I ain't speaking to a crowd of people. You're not taking me out there. You know, she doesn't want to go in front of a group and speak, and she's so good at it. She can articulate. She's been through it. She's that person, but she's like, nah, I'll sit in the back. Don't worry about it.
Well, and you know what? I can respect that. She didn't have to go speak to a crowd of folks. But if we could get her in that group to discuss with the young folks that need to hear the wisdom that she has.
So we could probably do that, get a group of younger people.
Yes. Yes. That'd be perfect for all of them because I see that as a void that where do you go when you come home? Who mentors you?
Right.
Is there a group for men that have been released to come and kind of help each other get through that transition? So I think these are big gaps that we could fill.
Right. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So, Marcus, I want to thank you for coming back in your right mind and trying to find a place for you.
Yeah, I'm just, like, with my Unity stuff, I try to, just like you said, I try to fill in the gaps. And, you know, the areas that I know that people need or can help others with, you know, like Skipp. You know, I talk a lot about him and try to make sure that they know that I'm trying to bring Skipp up here and help and bring some kind of assistance to those who need it, you know, which is us, you know, so I'm appreciative of him, so.
I appreciate you too, brother, and definitely I appreciate the connections that you are sending my way and for the relationships in San Bernardino and the different things going on, and it's truly a blessing, brother.
Thank you.
Yes, because this is about connecting ourselves to fill these gaps and fill some of our needs, and that's really what this hour is dedicated to. We are coming back. We are, as a people, waking up. And that's one of the reasons why I've been trying to chase Skipp all month to interview him, because a lot of times, you know, when we have guests, you never get to express. We just kind of throw in the conversation we're having at the time, but there are some serious issues that face us as a people that I really wanted to discuss with you one-on-one so we could get right at it. And Marcus, bless his heart, he's here, so we may be challenging him about those things too. And it's been a troubling week, okay? Definitely. And we're just going to send condolences to Las Vegas. We just don't condone murder of any kind, and it doesn't make me country western fan. Doesn't make me love a terrorist. You know, just offering our condolences, and they're going to have to figure that out.
Right.
They're going to have to figure that out. The one thing that I know out of our history, it's not common for African Americans to engage in mass shootings.
Right. And sister, the thing that troubles me the most is the media and also the president and also the law enforcement out of Las Vegas, Nevada, stating that this is the worst mass shooting in the United States history. And, you know, I've even heard KFI say, or KNX 1070 say that it has been in modern history.
Yeah.
So in other words, why not acknowledge the fact that in the 1920s there was something that happened in St. Louis with the union labor started killing all the blacks because they had all the jobs. So the union workers went to the job and it became a riot, and in St. Louis they killed well over 180-something people. Also in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I believe it was, I'm thinking it was 1932, but I think it was a little bit before.
It was 21.
21, okay.
21.
So 1921, they did the same thing. They came out there and they destroyed the business people. These weren't derelicts. These weren't people who were farm workers. These were the business people who had land and earned a lot of money, and you know, also in Rosewood in Florida.
Right.
You know, so all these different mass shootings of people, and there's some that I didn't mention. Why are they identifying with Florida last year being 50 people or 49, and this year Las Vegas as being the worst mass shootings? I mean, it really says something to me as a black person, like, you do not acknowledge my history. You don't even acknowledge that I'm here. You don't acknowledge my fight, because they say that the Colin Kaepernick thing is about Donald Trump in Alabama when he stated we should fire those sons of bitches.
We're going to get at that, because I really want to stay on this history thing too, because somebody reminded me about the MOVE organization. You know, Tulsa was the only time that bombs have been dropped in this country.
Wow.
And somebody pointed it, because I went to research the history. I wanted to know the death toll. It was something like 38, but 800 were wounded in that riot. And I wanted to know the whole story about it. And to be clear, it was a Black Wall Street. It wasn't just a black community.
Right.
So there was already hatred for that community because they were independent.
Right.
And they had wealth. And they had ownership, you know. And so there was a lot of, in Oklahoma was a racist state at that time, home of the Klan. Some Klan growing up in the cornfield. And these are the challenges we faced at the time. So there's speculation, I'm going to say it, that this whole thing started because this young man was operating the elevator with a young girl. Well, no, he wasn't operating the elevator. He was a shoe shine. She was the elevator operator. They was both in that building on a Saturday when the business was closed. So
the young lady must have been of Caucasian persuasion.
Of course she was,
and the young man must have been of a darker hue.
Child, of course he was. As a man of color, and the whole question is, what were the two of them doing in that closed building on a Saturday up in the elevator? And his thing was the only bathroom he could use was on the top floor. And the only way he could get to the top floor was to take the elevator. So there's some speculation that maybe they were a couple that they weren't supposed to be. You see, because the excuses they use is, oh, he fell into her, she screamed because he touched her. It's like, come on. What are the two of them doing in that empty building on a Saturday? Yeah, so there's more to that story, but the point is it caused that racial violence because they were the others of that neighborhood, the surrounding areas wanted to hang him. And the black community came to defend him. They knew him. He was well known. Even the attorneys that worked in that building where he shined their shoes stood up for that young man. But they still wanted to lynch him. So it forced the black community to come defend the jail just so they wouldn't drag him out and burn it down. Well, in the interim, they burned the black community down. That's what they did, and they dropped bombs from, as my friend told me, sharecropper planes. Yeah, they didn't have jets. Not in 21. They had sharecropper planes, and they flew those planes over Tulsa and dropped bombs out of them. So they didn't drop no bombs in Las Vegas.
You know what? So that is a direct attack on black people.
Yes.
And a black community.
Yes. Yes,
I mean, you know, how do we not talk about that in history? How do we not? Why is there not a movie about that?
Yes.
There's a movie coming out on A&E about Eric Menendez and how they killed their daddy.
I saw that.
You know, there's documentaries now on Biggie and Tupac and the murders unsolved. But the documentary about O.J. Simpson, because that hurts them. You know, that murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman, that hurts them bad.
But let's talk about Cam Newton and what he's going through right now with a wannabe blonde. Okay, you know, Cam lost his endorsement because he made this comment to fake blonde. Okay. And she asked him something about routing. And what he said, something like, you know, it's funny to me to hear a woman ask me about routing.
But it is kind of funny when you think about it.
It is funny.
You don't hear many women sit here and talk football to you.
I've never
and when she get to tell you exactly how routes go and all that, I can understand the sense that he's saying it in. I don't, me myself.
So what was disrespectful about what he said?
Nothing.
That's the whole point.
The point is trying to defame his character in order to get others to snatch their endorsements, their money away from Cam Newton.
Well, her pushback was to tweet that she was basically, you asked me about routes. Well, a woman asked about routes. Well, I was just doing my job. So now as a result of that, he has lost his Dannon endorsement. Okay, so when we talk about
that yogurt,
we're gonna talk about that in a minute. And today it's come out that she is formally sent out race biased tweets.
Yeah, because on the news this morning it says that she stated she's seen him after the fact, and he never apologized to her.
Well, she ain't gonna get an apology now.
How does one apologize for?
Yeah,
he apologized.
He apologized.
Yeah, that's what
he's trying to
Felicia
save
said.
his endorsements.
On video?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, isn't that what they do? They kill us and then they come and say, "Oh, I'm sorry."
No. Okay, wait. We got to put a quick commercial break.
Okay.
You know what your president? I think he's your president. You know
mine.
He ain't your. Well, Marcus, you know what your
My
president
last
said
president
in Puerto
was
Rico?
black.
You know what he said in Puerto Rico? He said that you guys are running up the budget behind
you busting
this.
our budget.
And he said, and we have real tragedies that happened like in Katrina where a lot of people were killed. What did you guys have, 16, 17? Can you imagine that, man?
And then he throws paper towels.
And then he says, here, let me help, here. Yeah. Start throwing paper towels into the crowd.
Because
Donald Trump. Man, Donald Duck.
Donald Trump. No, leave Donald Duck out of this. I tell you, I like Donald Duck. I don't like Donald Trump.
Man.
Let's be real clear about that.
Oh, my God.
I don't want to name call him. I just want to talk about the circumstances. See, because of him and this NFL SOB thing, I went back and found the pictures of the real traitors to this country and that flag. One of them's Robert E. Lee. The other one's Stonewall Jackson. Another one is Jeb Stuart. And then the president of the Confederate. Come on.
Right.
All of them traitors. That makes that Confederate flag a flag of traitors.
Right.
Your presidents call them good people.
You know how powerful it is. You said that. You know the first American flag was a snake, and what it said on the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tread on me.
Don't tread on me. Yes, and it was a snake.
What does tread mean? Don't
walk.
Don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't walk
those
on
words. Don't walk all over me. You're not gonna do that to me.
Well, with the symbol of
But
the
it's a
snake,
snake.
if you step on him, he's gonna bite you.
Gonna
Okay,
bite you.
so that's a pretty clear message. But what struck me, we had this whole big Charlottesville terrorist use a car, run into people. You murdered one of your own All right, in that process, a young black man got his life almost taken from him in the violence. They caught him in the parking lot and almost beat him to death. He's just a little 21-year-old kid that's going to carry that scar for the rest of his life. They're walking through with that traitor's flag, and that guy that calls himself the president calls them good people. So when did they become the traitor?
Right.
Really, if we're going to talk about that flag and call NFL players SOBs about that flag, when are you going to come after the traitors to that flag?
Right.
That's what I want to know.
Right, and they definitely exist. They're out there. And let me tell you, they don't have sheets on. They have on suits and ties. And let me tell you what they do every Sunday. They put their stock out there to go play for them and earn them money. They're the owners of the NFL, who will, at this point, still will not hire Colin Kaepernick, even though he is a valuable player. He is still a great athlete. He is deserving of a job somewhere in the NFL, and they refuse to do it because they are the traitors. They are the ones who are saying, you know what, you can make a statement about anything, but you're not going to use the NFL to do it because they don't. It doesn't affect them.
No.
This doesn't affect them. Just like Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma, I said it earlier this week, that was felt by whites, blacks, Hispanics, Haitians. Everybody felt that, right? So that's why they work together. I don't know if Texas, did you guys see where they had the line of people holding each other so they can go into the water to get them people out the van, right? That's because they all were affected by it. Yeah. But the reason why Puerto Rico is being treated so bad is because the 1%ers, they don't have no property in Puerto Rico. They don't. Those are black people that speak Spanish. What you think they gonna give us shit about them?
They're gonna give them gentrification. That's what they're going to give them. They're going to rebuild that island, and gentrify it at the same time.
There's gonna be a whole lot of people over there who don't belong.
If you really think about it, the same thing happened with Iraq. All they did was bomb over there and take their country, and now they selling their land.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't even own that land, but you selling it from another country.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's the same way with Puerto Rico. If it happens that way, all they're gonna do is sell the land and use it for their own.
So let me ask you then, Marcus, why is it that I want to say our people, but I'm really talking about the age group in between me and you, the people who are as young as you and as old as me? Why aren't they awake? Why aren't they paying attention? Why isn't this a major focus? Why is it that I can tell you where all the parties are, the softball games, I can tell you who Hood's Day coming up. Matter of fact, a shout out to the Hood Day today. Y'all know where y'all at over on the east side, you know? I mean, but I can tell you all the Hood Days at, but I can't tell you the conscious people.
Well, I think it's, and I'm gonna go back to entertainment, like the same way when you had people like Nas and Mos Def and all those singing to you and telling you stuff. Nobody really wanted to hear that. They wanted to hear the rah-rah. That's what goes on in their neighborhood. So if I'm listening to a Lil Wayne tell me to drink lean, and it's like 5 girls down the street that like that same thing, I'm going to follow that because that's all that surrounds me. You know, and if I got some people telling me, hey, you know, you don't need that stuff, I'm going to do it anyway. Same way, you know, everybody else probably did. When your mama told you don't do something, you did it anyway. So if we telling people to, you know, it's Lil Wayne fault, don't listen to him, they're going to go see what he talking about. Yeah. Now you got Lil Wayne fans because you done promoted it. You know, unbeknownst to you, by you telling them don't do it, you promoting Lil Wayne. You know, if you was to go tell them to listen to some Mos Def or listen to some poetry, you know, they got poetry readings in certain schools, and, you know, all these, when I was growing up, they had talent shows. You know, you go to a talent show, listen to somebody rap, you listen to watch somebody dance, you know, they don't have that, you know, that kind of camaraderie in the community no more. You know, because everybody's worried about their single struggle, you know, instead of a community struggle. You know, we all go through the same things, but
yeah, that makes sense. The community struggle, not just an individual.
Yeah, when we look at it in that sense, then I think it'll be better. You know, it's easier for us to actually understand what's going on instead of, hey, I got to pay my bills, I don't care about you. Right. But you know,
I think really, because by me being around a while, okay, I've had a chance to look at several different generations, starting with my own, and to see the unity and the momentum to help ourselves, either following Malcolm or following Dr. King. We were on a mission for the black community to change things. And after their assassination and then the annihilation of the Panther parties, we kind of lost our connectedness. And that's fair to say it that way, because shortly after the annihilation of the Panthers, that drug showed up.
Right.
That drug showed up. And now that we see films coming out, this one that Tom Cruise is doing, and to see Snowfall, Robert Singleton doing that.
That's John.
John, I'm sorry. Yeah, John. I don't know Robert.
Robert's Townsend. He's a different.
No, I just had a brain freeze. It wasn't Robert Townsend, no. I remember Robert Townsend, and no, it had nothing to do with what John is doing. And thank goodness for that. But to see that this truth is coming out, I see the greatest asset for us as a people really is cyberspace. Yeah, cyberspace. Because, look, somebody told me I could go to jail for this. But I was trolling through, and I haven't done this in a while, just looking at videos, and seeing a lot more African-American representation. So when I see those, I want to watch, see what we're saying, what we're showing. Somebody posted this fool that jumps out of his car, and he's going to confront a redwood. Big Brother's a redwood, okay? Mm-hmm. This guy runs up on him, and the redwood's telling him, hey, you don't want none of this. No, you don't want none of this. The guy is so insistent, he really thinks he's going to take the redwood down. He slapped him so hard, he almost knocked that guy's head off. Okay? And as fast as the guy ran up on him, he ran back to his car just as fast. Okay? Right. And it was just, it's like, no, you don't want to do this. To boom! It's like,
I think I saw that one.
I posted it because this is what I'm supposed to get me arrested. I suggested I wanted somebody to do that to 45.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that. That's a people. Man, do you know the people are on his side? Do you know the people go with him wherever he goes? Right. And then the people are listening to things, and when you say something, and the people say, what did they just say? Did they say something about? And then you don't, sister, don't let the people take you to the place. Do you know where the place is?
Look, I told my friend to just hold my bail money. I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about it.
The federal government sometimes won't give you bail. You have to go before a magistrate. Let me tell you, I did a tour of the different jails throughout the United States. I was in Kansas City, and when I was in Kansas City, they say, boy, don't get to call nobody for no bail. You ain't going to have none. And next thing I know, in the morning, Kansas City got the state and the feds all together, and I'm going before a magistrate. I didn't know what a magistrate was. I don't know what a magistrate was.
They got any magistrates in L.A.?
Yeah, they do. At DOC, downtown. Right there by Alameda, yes, there's magistrates down there. Well, Sheriff Baca went before a magistrate.
Hey,
those are them federal judges. I don't play with them because you know why? I mean, I don't play with the state ones either. But I don't play with them.
You hear that a lot on the prison yard. Like, man, I'd rather be in the state. I don't play with the federal judges.
Man, because you know what? Because they really have no oversight. Yeah. You know, just like how we say the county really doesn't. Mm-hmm. You know, because or even the city. Johnson, and they let this other dude be back the president of the police commission again. But these people are making requirements. These are requirements they make. There's no a mandate that this officer should be fired or this is wrong or whatever. It's the same thing with these judges, man. These federal judges, man, if they say, well, like they did back in the 80s with this crack laws, they were giving people the maximum minimum. You know, and so 17 years, well, 15 is the maximum minimum. I'm only giving you 2 over that. I could give you up to 50.
You know, I just...
With 85%. With 85%.
Make you fight it in court. You got to go through federal court at that.
Well, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk just amongst ourselves, because we need to be smarter about this. You always talk about this system that doesn't include us, and this is really where we need to be smart about it. And this is why I think the young lady last week, paralegal,
Oh yeah, Ray. Hilda Ray Sims.
And the idea is, if you're determined to go to lockup, don't waste your time just sitting there waiting to get out. Get yourself prepared to come out. And so that was her choice to prepare herself for the future. It was a brilliant choice. Brilliant.
Right.
And I really want to encourage others to think about following that path, you know.
Not just what Ray is doing, but think about Jaye. Think about Jaye Person Lynn. Okay, so he's in Inglewood, California. He's going to school, and when they get out of school, let me tell you, if don't nobody know, everybody hang out on Manchester and Crenshaw. And he's hanging out Manchester and Crenshaw too. He could very well easily been a part of the Manchester Crenshaw crew. But instead he went to law school. I got to tip my hat to that, and also encourage individuals to think like that. It is okay that 9th, 10th, 11th grade you hung out on Crenshaw, Manchester, Adams and Normandy, or in the jungles at the park, wherever, Compton or Rosecrans, wherever you at, that's fine. That's where you hung out. But don't make that your life.
Right.
Don't make it. That might have been your life during high school, but don't make it a lifestyle.
A lifestyle.
Now, let's continue to get this education, and let's beat the system by understanding it and knowing it and helping others to understand it.
Absolutely.
Everything about the system ain't no conspiracy theory. I hear that so much it irks me to the point where when you get to telling somebody what's truth, here he come with them some conspiracy theories again, you know, and just because they're not aware, you know.
I'm one of those. I believe in conspiracy, because it wasn't no accident that Jack Kennedy was killed. It wasn't no accident that Medgar Evers was killed. It wasn't no accident that Malcolm was killed. It's actually, some of us expected them to kill Malcolm. We just didn't think they was going to use black hands to do it.
Right.
Okay? But we sure knew that Malcolm's life expectancy was short because of the things he was saying. The thing that surprised us, they used our hands to do it. Okay? And then to come and kill Dr. King, we knew Dr. King. We knew that. See, so tell me there's no, that's just, not connected? No. That was between 63 and 68.
Right. So what's crazy about that is I was here.
Yeah.
The thing is, you know, when we talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we talk about Rosewood, there are people who are still here. They were children then.
Yes.
And they've gone back to Rosewood. I've seen Rosewood afterward, and they say, yeah, this was our land. And then the guy who was doing the interview, well, did you ever get reparations for your land? Did you ever get any money? They said no. But this was our land. They just took it and sold it. You know, so when we talk about stuff like this, and those 5- and 6-year-old little girls are now in their 60s and 70s or whatever, and thinking about me, I'm in my 50s, and I was born 2 days before they killed John Kennedy, and I remember everybody crying for Martin Luther King Jr., and I didn't understand it as a child.
Right.
Well, we're still here.
Right.
We're still here. You're still here.
Yes.
So, you know, and had to live through that. I'm born in the colored section of the hospital. So think about that. Like, this, we're not far removed from the problem. And the problem will manifest itself in the ways of number 45 and his followers.
Okay.
I mean, I like it because they telling us, they, you know, if I could on air, what they telling me and what I receive from it is, nigga, don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget. No, don't forget.
Nigga, don't you forget. You know what I mean?
Want us to
don't forget who you are and where we'll put you. And the message they sending to Puerto Rico.
Oh my God.
You know, and let me tell you what is a real tragedy, and I heard you say we're going to pray for the people in Las Vegas. Let me tell you who the victims were in Las Vegas.
I didn't say that.
Oh, you didn't say
just
pray for
offered our condolences.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I won't put words in your mouth.
Please don't. And look, because I am a prayer, okay, and there's just some things I have to leave to God.
Right. So yeah, I don't want nobody to be dead.
Yeah.
But I want to identify who were the victims.
Yeah.
The victims, I heard a lot of them were off-duty sheriff, LA sheriff. There was San Diego had 2. Ontario had a loss of a life.
Orange County too.
Orange County. There were 8 LAPD. 1 officer was shot, a female officer. But I mean, you know, so there were so many law enforcement. Manhattan Beach, school teachers, and all that. So think about this crowd. When the privileged people who don't understand our struggle become victims of the privileged people who don't care about our struggle. When privilege starts attacking the privileged, it's the worst thing that ever happened to America.
Yeah.
Did you hear them say that?
They're so shocked. And you know what amazes me about their shock?
Because it happened to them. Philandro Castile never happened to them. Sandra Bland didn't happen to them. Ezel Ford didn't happen to them.
Rosewood didn't happen to them. Tulsa didn't happen to them. Okay, they did that to us, okay, and it's okay. Charlottesville, they came to challenge us with that ugly history.
Right.
You really, and that guy calls them good people.
Right.
Okay, and this guy in Vegas, the amazing thing for me is that they're the ones that commit mass murder.
Yes.
Okay, it's always them when it, like from the Aurora, Colorado theater to Columbine to Newtown with those little baby 6-year-olds. That's the kind of madness they do.
Right.
But we don't call them, and I don't mean we. They don't call them terrorists. They call them mentally ill.
Oh, remember what's his name? He shot the 9 people in the church.
Oh my God!
Kid,
Yes.
Right.
And they gave him a whole new diagnosis. They made one up for him.
I didn't hear about that.
I don't remember the name, but I remember that whole story.
Dylan Roof.
Yes.
Okay,
Roof.
so what happened was when they arrested him, they went to Burger King.
Yeah, they took him to Burger King because he was hungry.
They went and got him something to eat.
They never did me like that in the back of the juvenile hall.
They're not ever going to take you to Burger King.
And you're going to go directly to jail. Don't collect no money.
Right.
We ain't giving you no burger. You're going to eat that slop when you get there.
Well, let's get back to what had Colin Kaepernick take the knee in the first place. Still can't get a job, and it got Dallas in this. Because, look, I had my eyes on Dallas. We want to boycott?
Right.
We want to boycott? Tell me who I'm going to boycott. Because I was going after Dallas. Tell that guy took the knee before the anthem with his players locked in arms with him. It's like, okay.
He was in the news stating that Dallas will not
take a knee during the anthem.
Will be on the field and everybody will be standing.
Yeah.
I even appreciate Pittsburgh. Do you remember what Pittsburgh did 2 weeks ago? They didn't come out at all. They said, we're not going to come out at all because we're not going to be a part. And one lineman came out and he stood in the hallway and he did that
in the tunnel
by himself.
His jersey sales went up.
Huh?
His jersey sales went up. He's the best selling jersey in the NFL today.
Wow.
Yeah, I see that on the news myself.
Wow.
That just speaks right there to the double standard that I really wanted to talk about tonight. We really are living in a double standard kind of environment, in that it's okay for you to come through Charlottesville burning tiki torches and carrying that Traitors flag. And everybody on that side says, "Oh, that's okay. That's our flag, and that's our history." And you're traitors. You're traitors. Let me say that one more time. Traitors to that flag. That guy called these NFL players SOBs for kneeling. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't stand for the traitors and then tell me to salute your flag. Right. Which one? Which one?
So I think what kind of slapped him in the face is when
slap hard enough,
when a lot of these colleges, they players, these are kids, right? So they didn't even come out the tunnel. They came out for practice, went back into the locker room, let them sing their anthem, came right back out afterwards. So I think from a standpoint of kids, that's like sending a statement to him, like, we ain't taking it neither, We don't care what you do, who you are, what number you are. I don't even call him a number. I put an asterisk. Okay. I call him Donald Trump. That's all I call him. So
I just call him that guy. That's what Whoopi Goldberg calls him. That's good enough. That guy.
It's not even worth even giving him conversation because we're giving him what he wants. He's arrogant. So by sitting here and even saying his name is, something that he enjoys, man. So if we stop talking about him, then he gonna have a lot of tweets to write. Let him write a lot of tweets and talk about it to everybody on Twitter because that's what he do best. So I don't even give him no airtime, man.
Wow.
The other side of this conversation is not only all the people that have left left his employment since he's been in that office, left their jobs, been pushed out, been forced out. This week, the Secretary of State called him a moron. He didn't call him a moron this week, right. But it came out that he had,
I think it was like in May.
Yeah, he had called him a moron. And so the big joke is that, well, he's not going to quit.
Right.
He's not going to quit. And what we need to know, that really ain't our issue. See, because that man is in that office because he's an oil millionaire. Okay? He got his money from oil. Right. They want that Russian oil. Right. They want that Russian oil. They're not going to go talk to the people that ride the camels. And I'm going to say it that way to be nice. They don't want that oil from people that ride camels. They want it from Russia.
But you know what I realized, though, is they don't want those people who ride camels to have the wealth and the power that they have, though.
No.
So they may not want their oil, but they definitely own some haterism, and they don't want them to be, because, you know, most of the billionaires came from Saudi Arabia.
Well,
because of the oil.
Because of the oil.
The one thing that the Daddy Bush and little brother Bush did was they attacked him purposely.
Well, look, see, because the Bushes got into it because of Kuwait. Kuwait used to belong to Iraq. That was part of their country, like Mississippi belongs to America. When Kuwaiti discovered they had all that oil, they annexed themselves.
Well, it was a domestic violence relationship too. They were being attacked. They were being brutalized. Yeah. So I suggest you leave, and you found this wad of money you have and black gold, Texas tea. You know.
But we're not we. America's the one that came and protected them in that annex.
Right.
You see, like if Texas says they're going to leave, and they have said they want to annex themselves from the United States, who's going to stop them?
California's saying it too.
Who's going to stop them?
Right.
See, but the Bushes fought a war to keep Iraq from having that Kuwait oil.
Right.
See, so that's how they get their feet in that market. They come and become the big brother, and no, you ain't gonna touch them. Like we're your protectors. No, we're here to rob the back of your pocket.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna take that oil from you as soon as we can. You see, and so when you talk about conspiracies and stuff like this, these are the kinds of things that have raised me from Vietnam and the foolishness of that war. And when you talk about servicemen and honoring the flag, I remember the time when that war took all the poor across the board. Blacks, browns, whites, all the poor men went and fought that war for this country. And when they came back, they were spit on.
Still being
spit on.
Right.
Yeah. You see, totally disrespected. So I'm not sure what flag that guy is talking about. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure where we fit in it. I'm not sure that we're taking care of them, that they're taking care of the military like they're supposed to, like they tell you they will. I'm just not sure about it. See,
you know another thing about having that guy from the Secretary of State being an Exxon CEO, like you just said, it connects, because if you really think about it, with how Russia and America is like halfway buddy, halfway we fighting, it makes sense to where if you got a guy who's been all around this country and all around this world with connections in oil, it would make sense. Just like, you know, people won't even think about the fact that all that happened with the oil pipeline and the Indians and all that stuff. The distraction comes from putting him in office and letting all these politicians, and it's 400 and something of them, right? So all of them have something to do with money, just like they did with Enron. You know, so they turned all that around when all that happened with Enron. They turned that around and stopped. They took it out of the airplane. Anything they could that had something to do with travel, they made money off it. That's where hedge funds come from.
They're not gonna lose any money.
So when it comes to what's happening with this oil stuff, my opinion of it is, it's a good business. It's a good business sense. That's why they're not saying nothing about him being there or Trump. You know, if you leave this guy right here, Trump brought us here. If he leaves, if what you call 45 leaves, then this dude leaves. You know, and that's how they see it. It's like a bribing tactic because he has all the connections with their money right now in his mind, in his mouth, and all that.
Well,
so if you look at it in that sense, they really are being bullied into allowing them to sit there in that office right now.
I don't know who's being bullied.
I'm
See,
just
because I don't know who's being bullied. That's all I'm saying. See, because this is about wealth.
Yeah,
this is about separating the wealth from the masses. Okay, yeah, and he's fixing to cut the taxes for the wealthiest, which is really what he really came to do.
Right.
Save the people with the money more money. But you know, you say you're creating jobs. Where?
Right.
Well, you see, so we're really being barraged with smoke and mirrors, like you said, Skipp. You're all over Houston. Houston's taking care of themselves. You wasn't even in office when Katrina hit. That was George Bush. But you want to compare Katrina to Puerto Rico?
Wow.
Really?
Right.
And you and Bush failed in Katrina, just as he is failing in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that's when Kanye West came out.
Yeah.
He got his award and say, Bush don't like black people.
Yeah, he sure did say that. He sure did, and he wasn't wrong.
No,
he wasn't wrong. And that's, you know, this is the worst time I can really remember in politics. Okay, I've been around a while. I started paying attention with the Kennedys because, frankly, the people, I was too young and they was old folks and, you know, old people, okay. But when Kennedy came, he was younger and brought a new kind of energy, and his thing was don't ask what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for the country kind of thing. And then came the Peace Corps, you see, and the Peace Corps was good for young folks to get them out of their usual arena and get them across the other side of the world to see how other people were living in the world and how tough it was. And that was a good thing. And personally, I always thought this was something we should do with our men that are in lockup. You want probation? Yeah, okay, we'll give you probation, but you have to commit to going to work in an African village for a year. Help them build a well. Help them plant corn. Help them make sure that their animals are okay, that they have animals. You know, that kind of give back where you can go see.
Take it to a different element.
Yeah.
I think we should do that here, though.
Right.
I think right here where we are, right, because let me tell you, we are dependent, I don't want to say we, but I'm dependent on Albertsons being open. I'm dependent on Food for Less. I'm dependent on that. I have no idea what it takes to grow corn, how long it takes, what I should be looking for, or how to do it. So I can't teach my children that. My children are learning how to respond to the world based on what they see through me and how I respond. So when we get hungry, we go and either buy fast food, we go sit down at a restaurant. We have absolutely nothing to do with how that food is harvested, how it's made, how it's cut, whether it's a thin cut or whatever. And I think that this stops us from being entrepreneurs because we become consumers.
Well, you know why, Skipp? See, because in Africa, they got to grow the corn. In L.A., you just got to go to Albertson and get it out of the produce section of the frozen food.
It's not mandatory that you make your own or grow your own food.
Right, that's why I was saying
that Food for Less.
With the Job Corps, Conservation Corps, whatever Corps, we should be doing that with our children. We should be helping them to understand everything about agriculture. We should be teaching them that, and not just nowadays everybody gonna teach their kids how to grow weed plants, right?
Let me back that up. Let me see, because that was another thing I wanted to talk about. I did go to that meeting Saturday about this legalization issue, and the one thing that I took away from that: regulation. Okay. Let me put that fist back down on this table. See, because it's going to be overburdened with regulation and control and law enforcement and who are you. And if you ain't doing it the way we tell you to, you're going to prison. We're going to lock you up. So I didn't get to ask the question I came to ask was, well, if somebody served time for being involved with selling weed, can they now get in the weed business? I didn't even get a chance to ask that question because they slapped us in the face with all these regulations coming down about this. So people think, oh, I'm going to do it this way. No, you're not. No, you're not. California is putting their boot on that economy. And if you're going to be in it, you'll have to submit to whatever regulations they're putting in place for you.
You have to submit paperwork to the police commission for that. You got to get a license from them.
Yeah.
They got to be the ones to give it to you.
That's just a small part of it. And then, too, expect to pay the taxes.
Right.
That's really what they want. They want the regulation and they want the taxes. So you're going to be regulated, and you better have that tax money ready for it. Okay, so I just wanted to be real clear about that because some of us have illusions, and as African Americans, we can't operate with illusions.
Right.
No. So I just want to be that folks really understand that if you ain't doing it the right way by now, by January, you may be going to jail.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a very big deal.
Can you believe we're already in October?
Man.
January 1st is not far.
No.
Right. Well, let's not go too fast. You know, we got to let me get 40 first. And then...
When's your birthday?
November 12th. Yeah, it's almost here. I've been waiting all year for it.
November.
They told me that I would not make it past 18, Skipp. I'm finna be 40.
Right.
I'm happy.
Made him a liar.
I'm very happy about that.
Yes, sir.
You ain't gonna pass 18. I'm finna be 40.
Hey, look, I went to Dorsey High School, and I wrote something about me not making it to be 21. I wrote it in a creative writing class. And everybody in the class like, what is he talking about? But this is at the beginning of, the movement of the Crips. It was coming. I couldn't go to the bus stop. I could barely walk home, man. People getting shot, killed, stabbed. How you think I'm going to live to be 21, man? The Crips is outside waiting on a whole lot of us, man. So I didn't see it, but it's definitely a blessing to be here. I'm 53. So November 12th, that's a good day. But a better day is November 20th, If you could have if your mom would have just waited, man, you'd be as cool as me.
Look, I got you beat. I got 3 generations of November 4th just in my family.
Wow.
November
My
4th?
daughter Kylan is November 4th. My daughter Kylan is
November 3rd, so it's a whole Scorpio.
Kylan's sister is November 3rd.
See?
All right, good look.
And then my other
It's a good month.
My favorite sister.
I got 2 of them on the 30th, though. They Sagittarius, though.
Look, I got you beat. My favorite sister-in-law is November 4th. She was 16 when she had her first child. And she and I sat up at night eating potatoes all night. My daughter comes along. She's born November 4th on my favorite sister-in-law's birthday. Okay? When my daughter gets pregnant, her son is born on November 4th.
Wow.
So I got 3 generations of November 4th birthdays. Then I have a best friend.
You know what that means? There's a lot going on February 4th.
Yes, it was.
February 4th was cracking.
It really wasn't February 4th. It was February 14th.
Oh, yeah.
Valentine's Day. Yeah. Because I asked somebody, so what was you doing for Valentine's Day? And it was like, well, it wasn't really Valentine's Day. But now the 15th. Okay.
The day after.
That explains that y'all are just Valentine babies. That's why there's so many of you. Every time I look around,
I like that analogy right there. I'm going to start using that a little bit.
Hey, you know what else? Somebody told me about prom, all the prom babies. They said, you just go back 9 months and May. And what was going on in May? All them 16, 17-year-olds went to the prom. Then after the prom was the after prom, and after the prom was the after party, and after that was the hotel room.
In the parking lot.
Yeah, and it was a hotel room. Yeah.
Well, that's way off topic, but
Yeah,
that
no,
explains a lot of stuff. I answer a lot of questions we didn't know.
And there was a lot of seeing how we're advertising for my favorite drink with no ice.
None at all.
No ice right here.
Well, we bought shot glasses tonight. So.
And let me see if it's on here right here. When I was a child, I used to look at cognac, and I used to try to figure out how is that cognac. That says cognog.
Cognog. Yeah.
So I used to wonder, like, how do you say cognac? No, there's no Y there. It's cognog. Yes, indeed.
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense. So this is a shot glass?
Yes, that's our shot glass.
Yeah, this is what
well, you know why? See, because I know they don't bring glasses to the corner.
Right.
Okay? They don't bring glasses to the corner. They just tip the bottle. They drink from the bottle. But we ain't going to drink from the bottle tonight.
No, friends of mine, let me tell you where I used to love these guys over here on 48th and 9th Ave. There's a liquor store right there. And them dudes, they would bring their own cup. Trust and believe, they would walk around with a cup. Sometimes the cup have nothing in it, but they hold on to it until somebody else came with a drink.
Right.
Okay.
And they got their own cup, and I mean, this is where I learned at an early age to be an alcoholic. And, I'm so glad I left that area. Like, man, I can't hang. I was 14, 15. What am I hanging out with y'all for anyway? They had me drunk every night. Every night.
Like you said, they didn't want you to listen to the blues because the blues will make you drink.
And they didn't want me to be out there gangbanging.
Yeah.
So they had me at the corner. You gonna hang with us? Yeah, they taught me how to steal cars, though. They say, you ain't got to go out there with that foolishness, man. We're going to go over here and show you how to break it.
I just say it's a lesson in that. And you say they taught me how to steal cars.
But you know what's so crazy? See, you were stealing cars in a time when there wasn't no helicopter to follow you around. When I watched earlier this week, this fool just driving all through L.A. in this wreck, and I just laughed. Why did you steal that wreck?
Probably was easy to steal.
What?
Or he knew how to steal it. He really just wanted to get out that area.
Right. So a lot of these crimes are crimes of opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, LAPD just caught somebody who said young guy was going from car to car just looking inside, taking whatever he could. Taking cell phones. Matter of fact, Melvin and the Advancement Project, Urban Peace Institute, they went to Oakland. And see, this is what they get for not taking me with them, right? They went to Oakland and they said that as they were walking back to their car, they said they looked at a laptop and said, hey, Melvin said, man, that laptop looked just like mine, right, that this young cat is walking with. So he said he went to the car and he looked and seen that their van had been broken into, and he said, hey, get that dude, stop him. So they going down Oakland chasing this dude who had broke in and took all their bags, their laptops and stuff. And I mean, it's a crime opportunity. Yeah. That's all it is. It's not as if they followed them, couldn't wait for them to get there. These young kids is doing whatever it is that they can.
Opportunity.
To survive.
Say, if you leave an iPhone in your seat, in your console, where somebody can see it, expect a broken window when you get back. I mean, that's like leaving your wallet on the dashboard.
Right.
That's true.
So I can't blame the opportunist any more than I can blame the one that left it out there for them to be tempted by. And so, nowadays with so many, because the dumbest thing to do really for anybody, and I'm going to just talk to the brothers, if I find you on a 7-Eleven video cam robbing that place again, I'm going to come and find you. I'm going to come. Sister's going to come looking for you, and then I'm going to want to talk to your mother. Really. Ask her why she didn't show you something better than that.
Right.
Because that's just a dumb move nowadays.
Sister, we got 3 minutes, so this is what I'm going to do. I ain't had a drink since 2014 or 15. I can't remember the last time I had a drink.
Well, you hold up the blood.
I won't got no problem.
Skip is going to hook up the Hennessy.
I'm going to actually pour something on this last 2.5 minutes right here.
Poetess, you joining us again?
I'm going to have this right
here.
No, she said no, not this time.
You going to have a sip?
Yes, I am.
I'll have one.
I'm going to have a sip here. Let me pour the sip.
That's a sip for you.
No.
Here, you take that one. No, you take this one. Give me a cap full.
Yeah,
I got to drive home.
Yeah,
that's
cool
good.
Right
yeah.
All right, so
put that bottle in my trunk.
We're going to put that in there.
That's just a wetter whistle.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the Whisper sung that. Just want to wet my whistle. All right, so it's a toast. What we toasting?
The
It's a toast to the food.
Yeah, toast to.
That's what
No, let's
the
not
main
toast the
ingredient.
No, let's just toast to the community, man. Cause
All right, a
Let's
toast.
toast our
everything-
people in the
there you
struggle.
go.
We're in the struggle. We know we're in the struggle, but we're going to find our way out.
Right.
How about that?
And community, keep your head to the sky.
That's right. You drinking?
Yeah, I'm drinking. I'm drinking before we go off air.
What?
You're supposed to slap your cup on the table.
Let's put hair on my chest.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot.
I don't need hair on my